Howdy everyone, Niregev here. Welcome to another episode of 5 Minute Paper Talk. And this time we're covering a technical note from the Remote Sensing magazine of MDPI that is titled Heart ID, Human Identification Based on Radar Microdoppler Signatures of the Heart using Deep Learning. Okay, so this work is starting by defining what is the microdoppler phenomenon, give or take, and describing the method. So they say that they have 98.5% of accuracy over in 4 people, distinguishing between 4 people or classification between 4 people. Okay, and why is that? Because sometimes you have to, for privacy reason, you have to know who is in front of you without uh, picking, so to speak, without using a camera. Okay, so they employ a deep convolutional neural network, uh, and they compare it against SVM naive Bayes and the fusion between SVM and naive Bayes classifiers. And they describe now the experimental setup. The person is um, is sitting in front of the radar. The radar is 24 gigahertz CW mode without any modulation, and the sample is 50 kilohertz. And here you can see the station that they brought up, and this person is actually holding his breath for 6 seconds, and they repeat this type of experiment 100 times for each person. Okay, it's 1.5 meters away from the radar. Now they explain what is the short-term Fourier transform or the spectrogram and how they calculate it. And here we can see signatures of heart of different people. um, so this is for person 1, person 2, person 3, person 4. We can see that they differ by the periods. This is the time period or the heartbeat frequency. And they also differ by the shape and also differ by the bandwidth, which is this space here. Okay. Now this person is not breathing, and so we know that that's not influenced by the movement of the breathing. So I don't know if how they extend that to a real life application, because you can't have patients hold their breath, but it's nice for a proof of concept. Okay, and we'll get back to that later. Next, they extract features like the period, the energy, and the bandwidth of the signal, and they use these features to train classifiers like SVM and naive Bayes. They do penetrability test with a piece of pork, and they show that this metal steel plate here is swinging a little bit like a pendulum, and the radar can see through the piece of meat here, applying or implying that this piece of meat is equivalent for the thorax of a human. Okay, they measure the piece of meat. It's 1 centimeter. This is 1.5 centimeters, and you can see the metal oscillating here through the piece of meat. Okay, they have some spuriouses here. I don't know exactly what it is. By the way, it's completely wasted that they didn't filter it out, because they look in a bandwidth here of 2,000 hertz, 2 kilohertz, from minus 1,000 to plus 1,000, and it's completely wasted because the heartbeat itself is just a few tens of hertz, as we can see it here. Okay, so they do have some spuriouses here, probably low energy spuriouses, but still we can see it when the pendulum is oscillating. Okay, so this is not the cleanest setup of that I ever seen. Okay, now they describe what they do with traditional machine learning like naive Bayes and SVM. They start with the architecture for their convolutional neural network. There's 2 layers, 1 and 2, and the end is a fully connected layer to distinguish between the classes. Then they describe the SVM. They describe the decision tree that they employ, the naive Bayes and the fusion between the naive Bayes and SVM, and then they started the comparison and discussion. So the result, this is, by the way, the architecture, 2 convolutional layers. And we can see here the training, the loss and the accuracy, and so on. And here we can see the confusion matrices. It's not bad. This the A is for 4 people, B is for 6 people, and so on and so forth. They go to 9 and 10 people as well. And here they compare with added noise. The performances, obviously, the convolutional neural network is outperforming the SVM and naive Bayes fusion by substantially outperforming them. And they summarize their finding here. So the convolutional neural network is gaining 98.5% accuracy. The next is the SVM plus Bayes fusion, which is 91.25% accuracy, and so on and so forth. So that's a nice proof of concept, I would say. This is not a real life application, obviously, but I have some reservations about what actually the network learns, because here, first of all, they augment the data. They do translation, which makes sense, but they do also rotation. So they rotate these images, these spectrograms, which doesn't make any sense, because in real life, physically, they will never be rotated. These images will always look. It's a time versus frequency image, so it will always look aligned. Okay, now if the person is, I don't know what we can learn from the spacing between these, because this is not space invariant. If my heart rate, for example, in this case, let's see this case, this is approximately 1 second of a space between them, which suggests a heart rate of 60 beats per minute, and thus, if my heart rate in resting is 72, this will shrink. The spacing here will be less, and this will be another signature, right? And if I'm after a walk, it will be even faster. If I'm very relaxed, it will be even slower. So I don't know what these spacing are, if actually the network learns them, because if it does, it probably does. That's not a distinguishing characteristic or signature between humans. I think the more suitable approach here will be to try to make somehow a physical aware network that will make the decision invariant to the spacing between these peaks, which means that to take patches out of this image and try to classify these patches alone and not the whole image. Obviously, also they're looking for they're looking here between minus 400 to plus 400 and minus 500 to plus 500, which is a complete waste for the neural network, because except for this, the rest is noise. Hey, thank you for listening. Please subscribe and like if you liked it. Don't if you don't. And catch me in the next episode. Thank you.